Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this Mayday podcast. It's only 2 minutes late today. That's pretty good for my for my live stream timing. So happy with that. Hello, hello. There's no one here yet, but that's quite all right. Right, where are we? There we are. I'm just setting everything up. They've changed the going live menu on here, so I'm slightly concerned that you all will have had a a proper boomer profile pic shot of my face as I'm looking down at the camera. I hope you didn't, because it's horrendous. So yes, there we go. But today, because I hate myself, we are going to continue with piano miniatures guard decor. Now, I don't say that I hate myself because the models are not very nice. I say it because we've been painting them in the last couple of live sessions, so we're painting them again here. I just want to get more of them done. I want to try and get them finished. Now, it's my understanding that next weekend, next Monday, is also a bank holiday. That is to celebrate the King's coronation here in Britain. We still have a monarchy. And to celebrate the new king being crowned, we're having a bank holiday. Now, I didn't know about this. Well, I mean, I knew about the coronation, obviously. But I didn't know that it was bank holiday. So I'm hoping that we can do another live stream next week. However, that will not be the the guard decor, Württemberg guard decor. That will be something King of Britain related, because I think that would be only fair. So here we are. I'm just trying to set everything up here. I've got my camera plugged in, so hopefully it shouldn't run out of battery. So what we're going to do today is, as I say, we're going to continue with the guard decor. Now I'm going to just pop these out onto the table. As you can see, my storage solution for them is not great. It's led to a couple of banana savers, but there we go. We should be able to straighten those out. I'm just getting the stream on my laptop so I can say hello to people. Hello, Kits with Karen. Hello, Andreas. Happy Mayday to you as well, Karen. Andreas, I suggest painting Cromwell. You know what? Actually, I do think I have an Oliver Cromwell model, but we'll see. When it comes to English Civil War, I do enjoy the parliamentarians, actually, despite very much not being a parliamentarian in history. But I do like their sort of their rise from being not very good at all to coming back and winning the war. Everyone loves an underdog story, I suppose, and the new model army brings that. But I would really like to see more English Civil War versus European armies at the time, particularly the Polish Hussars, because who doesn't love Polish Hussars? Now, have I done any more checks since we were last on stream? No. Oh dear. I was hoping that by leaving them up here in General Dad's attic, I was hoping that the little elves would have come and painted all the checkers. But they haven't. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, these are the checkers. They're not great, not the way I've painted them. And I was hoping that someone would have come and painted them on all the others. But alas not. So I'm going to have to do that at some point. I may not do it on camera today, though. But because it's very fiddly work. So one of the great things that I really like about printing is that... So hello, Lucas. Hello. One of the things that I really love about printing is it means that so for argument's sake, when I do the buying, getting started armies, it's very much the minimum requirements that you need for those armies. And the reason is we've only got so much money. We've only got so much time. So it's about saying, right, well, if a unit of cavalry is 8 models, well, we'll buy 3 lots of 3 cavalry from the Perrys, for argument's sake. And that does us. What I really like about the resins is once you've got the files, then you can print as many as you like. So what it encourages is it encourages you to play in the grand manner. So I've got 18 guard decor here. I've actually got 19 guard decor because I've got the trumpeter as well. And it means that I can put together that unit of 18 models for not a huge amount more than I could a unit of 8 or a unit of 12. So there was an old set of rules called In the Grand Manner, and that was designed really for absolutely humongous Napoleonic games. If you ever went to a wargaming show in the 80s and 90s and saw hundreds and perhaps even multiple thousands of models on the table, then they were probably using In the Grand Manner. And I think Black Powder does have part of that about it. you know, a large cavalry regiment can easily be 18 models. So, you know, I think it promotes that that larger play. So that's very cool. So who else have we got on? Alex Price. Good morning, Alex. I said hello to Lucas, so I'll say hello again. Daniel, storage solutions should come with a hazard warning. Yes, they should. Do not store them like this at home. Although, having said that, the horses, they're not too bad. They can go in there quite well. But the cavalrymen with the pointy sabres, probably not. So, keeps carrying lovely 95th rifles. These are some Saxon Dragoons or Guard. They are Lucas from Piano Miniatures. They are his Württemberg Guard decor. Yes, they are Guard. Right, so what we're going to look at today is I have got some jackets that still need doing. I can see here. I've got some cuirasses that need doing. And I'm going to look at also doing all the flesh, possibly the helmets as well. Let's see how we go on today. I'm going to go for about 2 hours today. I don't have any meetings with the goblins or anything like that today, so that's not too bad. But I do have other things planned for this afternoon. In fact, I might be having a game with General Dad. It all depends on how the afternoon shakes out, really. So let me just move that camera a bit more centrally. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to raise it up a little bit because it's a little bit in my way, and then just not zoom in that far. Christ, I don't want everyone to see my painting. God, right. Let's see what we've got. So I'm going to start off with the tunics that I've not done, so I can move these out of the way. Who doesn't love seeing an arm just appearing on camera? Great filming there. That's the guy whose saber we replaced last time. So here we go. So what's everyone working on at the moment? If not, maybe right now. What's either on the painting station or what's coming up next? I had a good day yesterday. Me and my brother went to Manchester, which is not too far from us actually. It's only about, well, by the time we got around the crash, it was about 2.5 hours. But normally it's only about an hour away. And we went to the Golden Demon Awards yesterday, so Games Workshop's premier event, which I have to say so I bought him tickets for his Christmas present. Obviously, he wasn't going to go on his own, so I bought him a ticket I bought myself a ticket as well. I wasn't actually that much looking forward to it. I'm kind of over Games Workshop at the moment, but I have to say I really enjoyed it. So no, that was pretty good. And it's got my juices flowing for a couple more 40k. There's a new 40k edition coming soon, so I might be busting out my Sisters of Battle army for that. But yeah, what are you guys working on at the moment? Just tops of first paints onto my latest batch of Napoleonic Brits. Oh, nice. With these Campbell's Brigade will finally be finished. Ah, lovely. Let's see how much I can get through today with your support. Well, let's have an update as we go along then, Andreas. If you're doing the Brits, what are you starting off with? You're starting off with the red coats and the white straps. Let's see if we can get all those done by the end of 1 o'clock today. Now with these guys, I'm reacquainting myself with the models. I've not really touched them since the last live stream we did. What have I been painting since? Well, I've been rigging some Napoleonic ships. I did a battle report with Rear Admiral Dan. So that's the ships that we did there. The USS Constitution and the USS Huckleberry versus 3 British frigates. It's got an absolutely awesome climax. I'm not going to spoil it, but check that out. That was yesterday's video. What else have I been doing? That's probably it Napoleonic wise. I've been building a lot of Space Marines recently. So we had a big 30k game down at Warhammer World, and I used my Dark Angels for that. But I'm currently working on a Sons of Horus army. So I've printed an absolute ton of those. I didn't realize how many I printed, to be honest. So I've been building those guys, and I have to say they're very nice. I bought the files I bought them unsupported, but he's subsequently updated the purchase to include supported ones, which for me is much better because I'm someone who so my brother, he's really into having his own supports and things like that. Not me. I just want to get the models on the tabletop. So supported models are absolutely perfect for me. Finishing on some British Airborne in 1/35th scale. Okay, that's interesting. Is that for a display piece or is that for gaming? Because again, these larger scales is something that I think as printing continues. Sorry, I just realised that my hand's not on the screen properly there. I think as printing continues to be more popular, I think the larger scales are going to be more popular as well, because it means that you can have the same models and just scale up for gaming. Excellent. No, that's really cool to hear. So do I understand you have your own channel, Karen? Is that a thing that I can be promoting, that we should all go and subscribe to? And open a separate tab and subscribe to that one. Don't come off this. But yeah, no, that's something we can do. Speaking of shout outs, none of these are paid, by the way. If you want to pay me for a shout out, then I'm more than amenable to that. But unfortunately, no one likes me enough to pay me for these things. I am just quickly switching to something here, which is I sent this to General Dan earlier on, so let me just quickly find it. On the 18th of June, as you would expect, there is a kind of like the Great Game, not quite on that scale though, and that's happening in Glasgow, as the Great Game did. But when I say not on that scale, I mean players-wise. I also mean size-wise, because it's actually going to use Epic Warlords Epic scale. So that is on the 18th of June. They are refighting the Battle of Waterloo in Epic scale. Now, he said in his message that if you've got your own models, you can bring them. If you don't have your own models, that's fine. They've got ones to spare. But it's happening in Glasgow. I'm not entirely certain where. You can search on Facebook. You can search for Epic Battles Waterloo Refight, and it should come up with the page. The picture that's on the site is of, I think it's the ridge of Mont Saint Jean with some farmhouses on the top or something like that. It looks like it's a promo image from Warlord Games. I'm sure they're not going to be complaining that they use it. But if you're in the Glasgow area, or you can be in the Glasgow area on the 18th of June, I would say that's definitely worth checking out, as it should be some good times. I have actually refought the Battle of Waterloo before in 15mm, and that was with Paul Dawson, who's quite a renowned author, and a group of his guys. And that was at York. That was very, very good as well, actually. We won that one. I was Marshal Ney for that one, so that was quite a good one. Right, where are we? Austrian line infantry on the painting table, but sculpting some Ulans right now. Well, I would say get sculpting, Lucas, but I can't afford you. I'm going on holiday later on this month. I can't afford you to keep on sculpting. So get painting, get painting. 4th Rhinebund Regiment Menningen Company. Well, it's nice to see you again, Imre Hill. As always, it's a pleasure to see you. Kits for Karen, we've had that one on gaming. Yes, Kits for Karen. You will see some wonderful 3D printed figures this evening on my next video. Right, okay, let me open up another tab on my YouTubes. Where are we? There we are. Kits with Karen. There we are. Kits with collars, FIFA 23. That's a very niche thing. Here we are. Kits with Karen, 337 subscribers. Well, let's make that 338. Let's hope by the end of... So it's Monday today. I know we don't have hundreds of people watching the live stream. So let's see if we can get it to 400 by the end of today. And let's see if we can get it to 500 by the end of the week. So Kits with Karen. Let's go and subscribe to that. And watch it as well. That's the important thing. It's not about just subscribing and never watching the videos again. It's about subscribing and making sure that we keep up with the... content. It's looking like there's some good stuff on here as well. Saturday live, so it's live streaming on Saturdays, so that's good. I've also got 26 minutes of Karens versus kids on here as well. Which I might save that one for laughing at later. But yes, no. So that's subscribed. I look forward to checking out your content. So I normally ask a question just to try and kick things off, and this one's more of a sort of I normally hope it causes debate amongst the people watching and commenting, but this is a genuine question. I'd be curious to know what the community's feelings are. But what do you think the future of Napoleonic Wargaming purchasing is going to be? Do you think it's going to be something like Kickstarters? Do you think that even even if you're not into the printing side of it, do you think I don't know, the Army of Bavaria Kickstarter, here you go, here's all the regiments for you. Do you think that's a good way to go? Do you think that army bundles are a good way to go? So, a bit like the Perrys do, but perhaps a little more flexible. So it could be, I don't know, pick any 4 boxes and get a free general or something like that. Or do you like the way it currently is, where you've got the plastics for the majority of your minis, or I guess even resins for sort of the line troops, and then you've got metals for the specialists and officers. What do you think the future of wargaming is going to be in the next sort of 4 or 5 years? Because we're obviously entering a period of some economic turmoil. So how do you see the future being best for you? I'm really curious as to how you see it going, because I think with wargaming as well, it's always been on the edge of, oh, wargaming's dying, no one's playing anymore. As long as I've been wargaming for what, 30 years now. People said that every sort of 6 months, but it obviously hasn't happened. But I'm curious as to see what how people think it's going to change going forward. Saxons, no, Bear Grisham, they are Württembergers. They're from Piano Miniatures. A bit of a trek from Bristol. Yeah, no, that's fair enough, Benedict. I could do with some painting motivation on Saturdays. Well, there you go. Kits with Karen's the place to go. I'm keeping an eye on it, y'all, so I want to see the subscriber count increasing. I've got to keep this page on because I've got to see 26 minutes of Karen's with kids later. Yes. Right, okay, so now we're I'm just going to quickly... Now, this is something else as well that I think we don't necessarily talk about so much, is the internet as resources for painting. Now, I know everyone knows this, but for argument's sake here, I'm absolutely surrounded by Osprey books and reference books and all sorts of stuff. But it's far easier for me just to reach over Württemberg Guard Decor and then just get Google Images, and we're good to go. So, it's a shame that all these Osprey books and stuff, do they still have a place in the future? I see they've diversified away from the uniform books and more into things like tactics and tactics books and things like that. And I think that's absolutely excellent. I think that's a really good way for them to go, because that's not something that you can get from a quick Google search on on the subject. What I'm looking for really are the helmets. What colour are the helmets? So the helmets are steel with black plumes. Right, okie dokie. In that case, it makes sense to do the steel first. So let's get that, and we'll do it here. I'm looking at Contal's painting of the Saxon Guard Decor, which is a phenomenal painting, really, really nice. I think he is an officer, but still, it's a lovely painting. Interesting as well. The horse has got a stripe down his nose, which you would have thought the officer of a Guard Decor unit could have had one without any markings, but I'm assuming that's from a historical example. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to stir this metal. It just goes to show last time I used it. Good old G-Dub paints here. And I guess that would be a now just thinking about it, that would perhaps be an adjunct question. Would be what about Kickstarters and things like that for paints? I see that the Army Painter have just brought out a new... I think it's the Army Painter. They've just brought out a new starter set of paints. I think that might be a little bit too much there. I've just brought out a new like ginormous bundle at 180 quid or whatever for 1 million paints. Now, I have to say, and I've never claimed to be much of a painter, I am not much of a painter. So for me, something like that would be pretty useless. I'd rather have 180 pots of black than I would 180 different coloured paints. But yeah, how do you see that going? How do you see your spending going in these times where your money doesn't quite go so far on everyday expenses? So the hobby budget is usually one of the first things to be cut back. For those whose German's not the best, well, that would be me. The 4th Regiment of the Confederation of the Rhine, Meiningen Company, was a composite regiment for multiple Saxon duchies. Oh, okay, that's cool. Would those I don't know this question, Imra, so this is a genuine question. This steel's looking a little bit yellowy. I'm wondering if I've not washed the brush out properly. This is a genuine question, Imra, because I don't know. These formations that will be made from the German confederations, so that regiment being a good example, would the troops be mixed in? So you're all part of the regiment, doesn't matter where you come from, you're part of the regiment, or would individual squadrons be from individual states, or as much as possible, I suppose. And I guess that's an ideal thing. When the replacements start coming in, I guess you'd put them wherever they can go. But I would imagine back in those days, the individual, certainly in the First World War, individual German states would pay for their troops. So presumably, if you've paid to train and equip, half a dozen cavalrymen as replacements, you'd be pretty annoyed if they went into someone else's squadron. So was that a thing, or was it just once they were in a regiment, they were in the regiment, and that was their new state, as it were? Because I genuinely don't know. If anyone else knows, then please let me know. 3D printed will get more popular. However, they must be tougher and not brittle. Also affordable to buy in bulk, especially if you build. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah. I have found that at the moment. I found that the market for 3D printed minis is actually still quite expensive. There's models I've seen where I'm like, I'm not sure I can be bothered to print it myself, to be honest. I'd rather buy it. So, for instance, a friend of mine recently commissioned me to print him a big fantasy cannon. And a couple of bits were giving me real grief to print. I ended up having to change my FEP sheet and my in fact I changed the whole bath in the end, but I mean, I wanted to do that anyway. But I had to change the FEP sheet, I had to change my resin, I had to do all sorts of stuff. We got there in the end, but it got to the point where I was like, you know what, I might just buy one and give it to him. But the price for it was so prohibitive, I was like, well, I'll persevere and and print it myself. But yeah, that is interesting with the 3D printing. The prices don't seem to be much cheaper. I set up a plate today for Napoleonic Russians in greatcoats. So it's a whole battalion plus. And it was going to use 44 milliliters of resin, which was going to cost me about it's 25 quid for 1,000 milliliters. So what does that make it? I guess that would make it every 200 milliliters is a £5. So it's half of that would be £2.50, half of that again, so £1.25. So about £1 worth of resin. So I could probably, by the time you've added electricity, things like the FEP sheet and things like that, if I sold that battalion for £2.50, then I'd still be making a decent profit on it. So, but people knock them out and say, oh yeah, 6-7 quid for the battalion, which I think is a little bit silly. And yes, I think as more people get into it, hopefully those prices will drop. No, I agree there. One thing that I'm finding with painting this steel here is the detailing on the helmets. You've got these like they're almost like walking sticks, like crooks. You can't really see it very well on the camera because my camera is terrible. But they are. It's again. It's difficult because I'm always full of hyperbole for these models, but they are absolutely stunning. They really are nice. What I'm going to try as well is I'm just going to try something a bit. No, I'm not going to try it on here. Let me grab this guy. Now I know this guy's a Space Marine, but just bear with me, because what I'm thinking is for the breastplate's going to be black. As they were, but what I'm thinking I might do is paint it steel and then paint the black contrast over the top, because the steel will shine through slightly, which will give it a metallic look. But it might be too metallic. That's my concern. Let me just do this guy's leg with the metal. This guy's another guy I printed. He's a Mark II Space Marine. I'll pop him off to one side, pop him off to dry. So what I'll do is I'll practice on his leg. His leg's got quite nice, nicely segmented armoured plates there, so that should come out quite nicely and give us quite a good look at how it will be on the breastplate. But back to the task in hand. Happy 1st of May. Happy 1st of May to you, Mr. Roja. Choice is good, of course, but there's probably enough competing paint ranges right now. Yeah, again, my painting thing for me, I just use Games Workshop paints because, well, for two reasons. One, I had an absolute ton of them when I left Games Workshop. So they'd just changed the paints over, and they basically were like, throw away all the old paints. So I was like, I shall throw them away into my bag, absolutely. So I had them already, and when they brought the contrast paints out, they absolutely spoke to me. So I just went absolutely ham on the contrast paints, and I just, to be honest, I just like sticking with the same manufacturer. I'm one of these people who's pretty loyal when it comes to companies like that, more out of laziness than anything else. Although if if something's significantly cheaper, I will go for that. So I'm just testing this guy's. I'm just painting this guy's breastplate as well. We're going to use him as the black tester. And that's a good thing. I mean, I've got a spare model anyway. We saw I had 19. So even if I do a unit of 18 and this guy, the tester doesn't come out right, then I've got a spare one anyway. I've slightly gone over his strap there. I went over it even more when I was pointing out that I got over it the first time. So he's going to need just touching up. That's okay. We can do that at the end. Now, one thing that I shouldn't have done really is painted the boots this early on, because I'm holding them by the boots. I'm rubbing the paint off. But again, that's not necessarily the end of the world, because I probably could have done with a second coat anyway. So I'm not too concerned about that. It means that when I finally glue them to the horses, I'll quickly look them over, and any bits that have rubbed off the boots, I'll go back and paint them then. So I'll just get the swords done. What I'm really enjoying about painting these swords is there's actually a blood channel down here, and it's nice to see the sort of the paint run along it. It's that's very very pleasing to me. It does, however, mean that the paint's running off the sword edge. There you go. So I put them on their backs, which means that the sword isn't touching the ground. This guy you can see, well, you can't see. This guy, you can see I put him down because his sword's already bent. So I'm hoping it'll slightly straighten it out. 3D printing involves a lot of prep time, though. It does. That is true. I found that it's something that I actually quite enjoy setting up the plates when I'm watching TV or something like that, which is quite handy because the amount of times the program crashes is is very upsetting. When I've just put down, I don't know, 70 Space Marine helmets, all of which I've supported myself, and then it crashes, that does get a little upsetting, I'm not going to lie. Buy your kits now before the price gets ridiculous or they go out of production. What was this? Are we talking paints or are we talking... Oh, here we are. You just bought the army paints. Yeah, no, that's fair enough then. Yeah. If you're buying ready-made 3D, the cost... Yeah, exactly, it is too much. I agree. It shouldn't be, really. How is that Space Marine for the 89 Danube? It certainly is. That's one. It's one of the lesser reported on fronts. Although it's like the meme of the like the sad Doge. That's the Bavarian facing the Tyrolese, and the Bavarian facing everyone else is like the sad Doge. I saw a one, and it was Belgium in Europe, and it was Thomas the Tank Engine, and then it was Belgium in the Congo. It's like Thomas the Tank Engine with all like flames coming out of it and like this big demonic leer and stuff like that. I thought, yes, that's very very apt. Now, something I haven't been doing, and I'm gonna have to go back and check. Oh no, I have been doing it. I just didn't realise I've been doing it. That's good. Is under the brim of the helmet. Make sure that you do that bit. This guy here, he's got a bit of flesh on his. So I'll just go back over there. Is he done? Yes, he is. Right, let's get the old trumpeter. Happy Monday, Shakos and Sprues. Hello. It is a very happy Monday because I'm not at work. So those are always the happy Mondays. I seem to have some Saturdays off as well, which is a very nice and rare occurrence for me. Although it is costing me a lot of money, so there is that downside to it. But it is nice to have a full weekend. Right, Imhill. So they are theory men from different duchies that were not mixed. Right, okay, they had different. Oh, right, okay. Ooh, okay, so they would also wear different uniforms. Oh, well, that's exciting. That would make for a very colourful regiment. I should say as well, actually, you might be able to hear some fans in the background. That is my printer currently printing. It is printing some Raphael Polish Ulans, or Ulan horses at the moment. Now, he's told me that his new Kickstarter, which I have backed, they are 28 mil. They're Wargaming scale. I don't know if he heard my unhinged rant or not, but it is much appreciated that he's reduced the scale of them. I think it's probably easier to increase the scale if you wanted that display model than it would be to decrease it. On a previous video I've shown you before, I haven't really got any further with him, unfortunately. I have printed one of, well, so Lucas's Piano Miniatures Kickstarter exclusive with General Van Damme. So I've printed him at 300%, but I've not got around to painting him yet. But he is a big old boy, him and his horse. So I'm very much looking forward to painting them. But I'm also a little bit scared of painting such a big model. So maybe Karen, your channel will definitely help me out with that one. Where are we? There we are. I do like paintings like along the length of swords like this. It's very very soothing, very therapeutic. Let's just get into his helmet here. Hang on. Nice to listen to painting the Prussians and converting some more Grenadier Shakers. So you're working on the Prussians, are you? Very nice. Is that 1815 Prussians or earlier Prussians or maybe even later Prussians? Speaking of later Prussians, the Perrys have finally announced their French plastic infantry for the Franco-Prussian War. I am super excited about those. I'd love to do a campaign of them. I might have mentioned this before on the channel. I've certainly bored everyone who listen to me about it in real life. But but a campaign. So it's basically the First World War, but in the late 19th century. Now there's a little bit of flexibility on the time frame, but it would see the same sort of armies that fought in the First World War. So you'd have, say, the Allies would be the Zulu War British, Franco-Prussian War French, the Crimean War Russians versus the Prussians, the Austro-Prussian War Austrians, and the Ottomans from I guess the Mahdists were Egypt, weren't they? I suppose rather than the Ottomans, but that period. But you could also get in things like the Ascari, who were tribesmen. I don't know. Is that? Am I allowed to use that term? Yeah, I'm going to use that term. Tribesmen employed by the Germans. You could have, say, the Zulus could fight on the Axis, well, the Central Powers side and things like that. So I just think that could be really cool. Garibaldi's Italians could be fighting for the Allies as well. So yeah, no, I think there's some real possibility on that one. It's a very H.G. Wells, I think. Although without sort of the blimps and stuff like that. Although they could come later. That could be quite cool. If you ever played Dystopian Wars, the naval game, but basically that. So, but without the steampunk. The Battle of Dorking, yes, that's that is H.G. Wells, I think, isn't it? Where the Prussians invaded Britain. In fact, I really do want to get some Perry Zulu War British and give them the home service helmets because they do look super cool. So, yeah, so that kind of thing. but open it out to obviously American Civil War Americans as well could join the war later on and things like that. I think that could be a real goer. I think that would be a brilliant like campaign weekend, but I don't think things like that really happen for historicals. Oh, for the Lutzen game at part-time, of course it is. Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's me being a Dumbo. Oh, well, that's cool. That's how did your test game go, or are you keeping it under wraps? Are you keeping it secret, keeping it safe? So we find out at Partisan. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be at Partisan this year, which is the first time I've missed it in many a year. But I'm actually in Crete that weekend, so, which is cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to go and do a battlefield tour of all the Fallschirmjäger battle sites and all that stuff. Percy Dorking at one of the Partisans. Yes, he did. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it's nice. A nice bit of sort of alternative history. I think that's. I think the 19th century really lends itself to that because the uniforms are still—they're not quite Napoleonic colourful, but they're still colourful enough. And there's that strange mix of the ancient. I don't mean ancient. I mean guys running around in bright red trousers with bearskins on, if you're French, or Napoleonic columns of attack and all that kind of stuff. But it's just getting to the verge of modern technology as well. And then when you add into that the native troops, you've got literally an ancient style of warfare meeting the modern style. So you could have, for argument's sake, what would a Prussian army look like with allied Zulus or something like that? I think that could be really interesting. I've played a few 6mm Franco-Prussian war games. I've always found them very good. Actually, it's an interesting period I've just started learning about, and it's pretty interesting. Now this guy with his banana saber, we're going to paint him anyway. We can always straighten that later. In fact, I might have a go at straightening it now. I'll wait for the paint to dry, straighten it, and then if the paint's flaked off, I can just go back and repair any flaking there. Have some periplastic Ulans on the way too. Looking forward to them. Yes, no, I am looking forward to those. They've announced the Poles, haven't they? The Polish infantry as well. I did that in my video last week. So yeah, we're interested to see them. But yeah, no, the Ulans will be nice. The thing with the Ulans as well is it will give you the Lancers to convert Austrian to convert Russian Hussars with. So when I did my Russian Hussar conversions, none of them have got Lancers, and the front rank of Russian Hussars would have Lancers. If you've ever read the I can't remember the lady's name, but she was a woman who joined the Russian army. She started off as a Hussar. They were doing drills where they would ride around in a circle waving the Lancers over their heads, which she found very difficult. I mean, I can imagine she didn't have that core strength, but crap, I think I'd find it very difficult as well. So I'm no shade on her for that. But yeah, no, it was so the Russian Hussars, yeah, they had Lancers, which is difficult to do conversions of at the moment. You can always buy a set of 3 peri metal Russian Hussar Lancers, I suppose, just to add them to the plastics. So I'm just making a splint here for the this guy's saber. Let me get it in there. Go on, you bugger. There we are. Just pop a peg on there to keep that in place. Closed pegs, I find one of the most useful modelling tools out there. I love using closed pegs. There we go. So that will hopefully keep that straight. What I may end up doing is leaving it in that splint and then running it under some hot water, and that should straighten it out nicely. If all else fails, I did print some spare sabers, so I've got this one here. So I can always cut him off at the wrist like we did last time, and replace it with another saber. Your game sounds rather steampunk. Yeah, I mean, it would be, but just without the steampunk elements. It does sound pretty cool, though. Well, it does to me, anyway. I don't know if anyone else find it cool. Do some videos on Crete's battlefield visits. Always good content. Yeah, I mean, I could do. I'm not sure how it would go over on this channel, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The Battle for Crete is one that I've been interested in a very, very long time, since I found out it happened, really, because it's one of the few successful airborne operations. But it was it was such a disaster that Hitler forbade any further air landing operations. So, although the mission the job got done, it was at some cost. Now, I've done this guy's helmet black. I think I probably assumed that they were black when I did this. But I don't know what's going on here. I'd obviously done a practice on the cuirass and the plume. But that's okay. We can always paint over the black. Black makes a really good base for metal anyway, so it's not the end of the world. I might have been unsure whether it was metal or black and thinking, well, I can always paint over it later. It gives it the depth that you sometimes need. Now, under the cap there, I would imagine actually there was probably a leather lining under the visor there. But I'm going to paint that metal in. Oh, did I get somebody's nose? Oh, I got somebody's nose. No! Let's see if I can get it off. Yeah, the Cavalry Maiden. That's right. Yeah, it is a really, really good book, actually. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. She's just oh, no. I've really got his nose there. She's just transferred from the Hussars to the Uhlans because she couldn't afford to stay in the Hussars. And no spoilers, but if you cried at Bambi, then it may not be the book for you. I mean, if you didn't cry at Bambi, you're an inhuman monster. But hello, Paul. I have recovered from yesterday. My foot is still hurting, though. We did a lot of walking yesterday, which is good. I got my steps in. I've not got my steps in for a couple of weeks now. My daily steps. The average has not been too bad, but it's not been above the 10,000 that I try and keep it. So it was nice to do quite a lot of walking yesterday. Shaker and Spruce is planning on using the Lancers for Prussian Landwehr and Uhlans. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Though they don't do a perfect match for the horse, may use a French light cavalry horse or just use the current allied cavalry horses. Yeah, I mean, I think particularly for the Landwehr, I can imagine that equipment wouldn't necessarily have been the same. I imagine it was fairly standardized. I think that was one of the strengths of the Prussians, was that supply chain like that. So I can imagine they were pretty standardized, but they would have been raised by the individual states, as we've seen. And that also, they would have used a lot of imported British equipment and uniforms as well. So there is that as well. It's a little bit like when you ever see newsreel of the Russians in World War II, I can't ever remember seeing a Russian Sherman or a Russian... I've seen a couple of Russian Cromwells, I think it was. But you don't see many Lend-Lease vehicles in Russian footage. But they certainly used a lot of them. So I wonder if the Prussian stuff's a bit like that. You see the paintings and everyone's got Prussian gear on. But how many of them actually used genuine Prussian gear? Or how many of the uniforms that marched against Napoleon at Linney, how many of them were made in Manchester or other Lancashire towns? I don't know. It'd be... I'm sure someone like Paul Dawson has done the research on that, or if he hasn't, I'm sure he will at some point. Did you read the first previews of Ridley Scott? No, I didn't actually. No, I haven't. I didn't know they were out. Ooh, I shall have a look at that. I did see someone was in it who I thought, oh, that's a good choice. I can't remember who it was now. So that was a great story. Yeah, thanks for sharing that one, Tim. Yeah. There's a guy in it who I didn't think would be in it. Yeah, brilliant. I can't remember who it was. It was announced that someone was in it anyway, and I thought, yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm still skeptical, dubious about it. I think Napoleon is too old. I think Joaquin Phoenix, as great an actor he is, I think he's too old. I think Josephine is too young. And I think Ridley Scott has made some absolutely terrible films lately. Although The Last Duel, which I haven't seen, is apparently very, very good. So that might be a better fit for him than the last Alien film, because that was absolutely god awful. Shakos and Sprues someday, someday for sure, absolutely. The sentiment went well. I think we have the table sorted. Excellent. Game is very blooded. Excellent. I think I'm as much providing minis. Still struggle with the current edition of General d'Armée. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got the Napoleonic rules that you lent me, so I'm going to have a flick through those this afternoon. Actually, the sun's out here. It's looking quite nice out there. Actually, there's some. What are they? Stratus clouds, I think. So it's looking quite nice out there. Just scattered, a bit of sunshine. Yeah, it's very nice. I can hear some birds. It's not as nice as we've had in the past, though. I was talking to my friend today. He lives down in Essex, and I was very jealous because it was sunny here. It's obviously a lot sunnier down there. And as I was talking to him, I could hear him, all the birds and everything. He was obviously in his garden, and he has an absolutely humongous garden. He's gorgeous. It really is nice. In fact, he's moving, so I should go down and see him before he moves, just so I can sit in his garden again. But yes, I was very jealous that he was out there with the coffee this morning. Where are we? Let's have a look. Let's refresh the old comments. Dual film had horrific armor, though. All right, okay. The images put me off watching. Right, well, fair enough. Okay, that's it's not really too bothered about that. Although having said that, I did have to stop watching. Was it They Defended Their Country or something? Which was the film by the guy who directed Waterloo. He did a film on the Second World War, and I had to stop watching it because the tanks in that were absolutely dreadful. So The Last Duel, not the great historically, but okay, no, fair enough. Good to know, because I saw a picture of a still of Joaquin Phoenix, well, Napoleon. I don't know if it was him or if it was the stunt double, charging with his consular guard, and there only looked like there was about 10 of them. It looked like a scene out of Sharp, which I mean, as much as I love Sharp, is not what I expect from my multi-million pound blockbusters. How dreadful are dreadful tanks? Oh, they're really bad. I think they're like T-55s or something that the Germans are attacking with. I can't remember. It was awful. It really was terrible. And they're jumping out of BTRs and things like that. Oh, there. I mean, now I should say, to be fair, the Cold War is one of my areas of passion. So that's maybe your mileage may vary. Let's put it that way. But for me, no, it was just I just couldn't do it. It wasn't worth sitting through another 45 minutes of Russian romantic soul searching to see some T-55s get blown up by. One thing they did have was the Russian equipment was accurate. They were using Zis-3s to blow them up. So I was chatting with one of the extras for it, and he seemed pretty impressed with the kit. Oh, right, okay, no, that's fair enough. Then that's a good recommendation. I'm certainly going to go and see it. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm maintaining optimism, but I'm not hyped. Let's put it that way. Ducky out now. I have a video to release at high noon. Let's play What a Cowboy. Well, there you go. You're obviously in the spirit for it. Yeah, it was nice to see you, Alex. Thank you for dropping by. Are you down the club on Thursday? Are you running anything? We have to have that game of Chain of Command at some point that I can actually upload. Now I've sorted out my my uploading software, so it should be okay this time. For those of you who don't know, I play Alex from Storm of Steel, another great channel. If you've not subscribed, I can recommend going over there after you've subscribed to Kits with Karen. I'm still keeping an eye on it. It's not raising as much as I would like it to be, so make sure you get on that. But if you're not subscribed to Alex and Storm of Steel already, and you're interested in early to mid 20th century combat and the best show reports and interviews that you'll ever see, then that is the channel to go to. He does excellent show reports. In fact, I thought about doing show reports myself, but A, I'm just too embarrassed to go and ask people to talk to them, and B, Alex does such a great job that there's very, very little point in me doing it as well. So, yeah, go and check his channel out as well. And the pants are done onto the coast. Yes, you said you were doing them. Sorry, yes, I did read that and didn't read it out. You're doing them brown, I think, weren't you? So good for the Peninsular War, especially as my columns of attack are marching towards the enemy. I've just scrolled up. I've just seen who have I just seen? Mabin Agoin 17. Greetings from New Zealand. Greetings to you, sir. It's how are you doing down there in New Zealand? The paint along is something I should do on my channel when I get a close-up lens. Yeah, I need to. One of the yes, one of the problems with filming here, it does not do close detail very well. So yes, I can appreciate that that thing. The bloodshine is called a Fuller. Yes, it is. I had forgotten the name for it, so thank you for that. I am a huge fan. My brother got me into this, so you can blame him. I'm a huge fan of Forged in Fire. So I should have known that straight off the top of my head, shouldn't I? So I apologise, but I'll have to leave my blade at the forge. So for you, the competition is over. I absolutely love Forged in Fire. It's great. If you've not seen it, it's a show where they get bladesmiths from across America, and they have to make various. It's usually knives they start off with, and then the final two have to make an iconic weapon from history. And it's like, sometimes it's like like half the time it's a katana, but occasionally it's like some crazy African weapon that you've never heard of before. But it's really, really interesting. Then they get some martial arts guy to like chop up some ballistic dummies or something like that with them. There was one that I watched on the Kopesh, which was the ancient Egyptian sword. Kopesh comes from the ancient Egyptian word for ox leg because of the shape of it. And the guy's going to town on this ballistic dummy, and it's absolutely horrific. Now, admittedly, these are made out of steel, not the bronze that they would have been initially. But oh my lord alive, you did not want an Egyptian going to town on you with a Kopesh. I can guarantee it was it was certainly an eye opener, that's for sure. You think of like ancient battles, they were sort of they weren't that serious. Believe you me, that was very serious. Three shades of brown for somewhat uniform but very on-campaign look. Yeah, that's fair enough. I think that's a good idea. I like to mix the brown pants in with white or grey, depending on the theatre. Just to, as you say, just to show a bit of variation across the unit. So right now, I'm going to go with this Austrian Space Marine again. His legs should be dry by now. And I'm going to go with this one's Black Templar. Now I should really have done his other leg as well, and contrasted Black Templar with Black Legion. Those are the two black contrast paints. But this one tends to be the one I use for hard surfaces, whereas the other one, Black Legion, I tend to use for soft surfaces. So something like black cloth, I tend to use Black Legion for, whereas black armor or black plates, I'll tend to use the Black Templar for. So I'm painting up. I'm painting against the grain here. That's to make sure that the largest concentration of the paint is in the gaps between the plates. So there we go. So I'll just brush it up like this. One of the problems with the contrast paint is if you keep moving it around when it's drying, it tends to streak, particularly on metal. So I'll leave that there. I'll pop him out to one side and we'll see how it looks in a bit. I remember the first episode with the Claymores. One was bent and the other broken. Yeah. Claymores must be pretty difficult though, because they're reasonably long. So it must be quite difficult to. Presumably, the longer the blade, the more difficult it is to keep it strong. I don't know. I don't know anything about forging, but that would seem to make sense to me. I just missed a little bit on the bottom of his tunic there, on the bottom of his arm. I'm looking round in vain for my black wash. That's a bit of a shame. Let's see if there's one lying around in my in the old man's painting section. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's a shame. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's no problem. So I'm going to do the flesh next. So I've done the metallic. So I should have done all the helmets. I'm going to do the flesh. Now, this is the part that's a little bit of an issue because you have to re-undercoat the flesh first and then do the contrast paint over the top. So I'm going to re-undercoat it with, where are we? With Screaming Skull. So that's quite a yellowy colour. It just means that when we paint the flesh over the top, it'll just give it a little bit of warmth, which obviously flesh has got. Otherwise, they can look a little bit undead. If you do want to paint undead, now I saw recently some interesting Napoleonic zombie conversions. So if you do want to paint dead flesh, painting the contrast paint straight over white like this can look quite good. It can look like there's no blood being pumped around. But if you don't want that effect, then it does look like that. So you want to make sure that you've re-undercoated them with either Screaming Skull, or you can use the base coat, which is Wraithbone. I think it's just called Wraithbone, or any sort of equivalent color, I guess. Just something that's a yellowy cream that just allows a bit of warmth to shine through when you're painting the contrasts on. I'll make sure we're getting his gob there. I've also got some Easterlings to build this week as well. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, which is some Lord of the Rings, like Japanese type guys. Most units get variety. These ones I wanted less white. Yeah. What rules would you prefer for 6mm Ancients? DBA, Hail Caesar with modifications, something else? That's a good question. To be honest, I've not really played that many Ancient sets of rules. One that I do play, which I quite enjoy, is L'Art de la Guerre. Now, that said, it does come with some caveats that I know people who've played it who find it very technical. It's very similar to DBA, but sort of updated. And what I mean by technical is it plays a little bit like chess. There's not much soul in it. It's tactically, I think it's very, very good. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily an enjoyable game. Whereas something like Hail Caesar, I think is. I'd be tempted to try that out. It's simple enough. You can probably get a feel for the rules in one game. So I'd certainly add that to the rotation. I'm just trying to think what other sets of ancient rules have I got and played. Obviously, DBA is the standard. I have to say I'm not a massive fan of DBA though, because it doesn't have enough models for me. I'm someone who likes, as we said earlier on, in the grand manner, those battles. And DBA is like, well, here you go. Here's an Egyptian spearman. He is as good as a Landsknecht. I'm like, well, I mean, they're not, are they, really? A blue wash on skin works well for undead. Yes, it does. Yeah. Or I've also found a purple wash works, or a slightly greenish one, or indeed a blue one. And I actually think the best way of doing it is to mix them in. So do some purple, some green, some blue, and that gives you a nice variation of different stages of decomposition, as it were. So, oh dear, this guy's got a banana sword as well. I'm going to have to splint him later. Let's see how this one's getting along. Nope, he's still a banana, so I'm going to have to put that through under some hot water. That's fine, though. That's no problemo. Might as well do his fashion. I've got him, haven't I? I say the thing with resin, like bent swords and things like that, are definitely a lot easier to turn than if it was metal. I always find the problem with metal ones is you bend them back, and they're in the slightly wrong place that you bend them. So instead of being straight, they're now wavy, and then you try and sort that out, and it just ends up becoming a nightmare. Whereas with the resin, I find it a lot easier to straighten stuff out. Now what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to get the black wash after I've done these, wash the steel, wash the helmets in particular, and then we'll come back and do the faces. So I might have to briefly disappear. You'll hear me clattering downstairs while I go and get my black wash, because I forgot to bring all my paints up with me today. I can recommend To the Strongest. Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's cards, isn't it? On a grid. I didn't used to be a fan of the grids, but as I've got older, I think it's probably it makes the gameplay a lot simpler and lets you get the result sooner. Although it just does feel a bit like a Wargaming minis to me. Have I thought about playing Napoleonic Total War 3? I have thought about doing it, and I can't seem to get it to work. I'm not the world's most computer-minded, as you will know from seeing my content. But yeah, I've got Darth Mod. I'm just about managed to get that to work. But I don't really seem to get Napoleon Total War 3 to work. The thing that I really like about the Total War series, the grand campaigns. And without that, when it's just doing this is the Peninsular War, I just find it a little bit meh. So I don't know. Maybe I should change the settings, change it to hard. I normally play on, I normally play on hard actually, or difficult. I think it is, isn't it? Maybe I need to up those to like extreme. I've just bought the Chaos Dwarves for Warhammer Total War 3, and to be honest, I loaded it up just to make sure that they worked. And I've not fought a single battle with them. I don't know. I've fallen a bit out of love with the Total War. Certainly, Total War Warhammer. I don't really know why. It just doesn't seem to interest me. I keep thinking about re-downloading Rome Total War 2, but I haven't got around to it. I've been playing a lot of Civilization 5 recently, actually. Well, I say playing a lot. I've played it. I think I played it once as the Japanese. No, once as the English, and then once as the Japanese. That's as far as I've got. In fact, I'm still playing with the Japanese at the moment. I'm about to attack Alexander the Great because he's got too many city-states on his payroll, and we're coming up to designating a world leader. Yep, cards, grid, and surprisingly good despite that. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I saw they did. I think it was the Battle of Magnesia. I think they did as a demonstration a while ago. And that, I mean, you stick Romans in a checkerboard formation, and I am there. In fact, no, that's not Magnesia, is it? But you stick Republican Romans in a checkerboard, and I am there. I'm all about that. In fact, I found my Republican Romans in the cellar the other day, and I'd forgotten about those. So that's another army that I need to get around to doing. I think the original Shogun Total War was the best. I never played the original. I've got Shogun 2, and that is very good. But yes, I've heard good things about the original one. I love the mob total factions. The mod total factions. It allows you to play with the minor factions. Oh, right, okay. I shall... I didn't know about that one. I shall check that one out. Oh, it doesn't work. Well, okay. Well, maybe I might check that one out then. That is a shame. They really need to get back to Napoleon Total War. It seemed to be one of those ones that was a bit of a side project. And I mean, considering they did 7 Years' War as the main project, and then Napoleon as a side project, it seemed a little bit of an odd way of doing it to me. But I'm sure they know what they were doing. To be honest, I don't mind Empire Total War either. I don't think that's as bad as the reviewers at the time said. Although, as always, sieges are not very good at all. Now, I can win a siege with like 2 units of infantry against like a full stack army, just because the AI is terrible. So it's not due to any great tactical skill from me. It's just terrible AI. If I thought it was a multiplayer mod, if you have Discord, I can help you install the mod. Use historical core, you can play as Vickers. Okay, I do have Discord. I very rarely use it, as anyone who's on the Discord knows. I am trying, though. I do try to get onto it more often. In fact, I even started posting on it yesterday until my phone ran out of battery as we were over the Peak District. But there you go. Driving from Manchester back to Sheffield, you're basically going over a mountain range. Oh yes, mate. Hogs of War. I absolutely loved Hogs of War. Yes. Oh no, no one's ever heard of that game. Yes. No, I completely agree. With Rick Mayall doing the voices. Oh, that was so good. And the pig who was like Elvis. Oh no, that was a great game. Yes, it was brilliant. Those of you who don't know, Hogs of War was kind of like Worms 3D, but each hog had like you had like a medical hog or a heavy weapons hog or stuff like that. It was such a good game. Yes, mate. Hogs of War was brilliant. Oh no, that's super. You could tell in my voice. I've got a big grin on my face. That was a yeah. Yes, Hogs of War was brilliant. I don't think they ever made a sequel, did they? Which was a shame. It was like, was it the First World War? I think it was. Yeah. Oh no, that was such a good game. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at how our Space Marine's getting on. Now the metal is not really shining through too much. It doesn't look metallic, which is good because I don't necessarily want it to. But let's have a look. Hello, Conradson. Hello. You came in just in time. I'm just showing off a Mark II Space Marine. So there you go. Perfect for Night Lords. He looks a little bit green, which is on his knee pad there, which is something I've found with using the Black Templar. Now, there's no such thing as a black paint. It's just usually a very, very dark colour. Although, well, actually, I say there's no such thing as black. Someone has brought out like a blacker than the blackest black paint. I can't remember who it is though. I don't think I need to go into such extremities for this, but I think it's probably in this case then a very dark green or maybe a very dark greeny blue. So I think that's probably why they look slightly greenish. But let's have a go on this guy's breastplate. I'm certainly not put off trying it on the actual model. I've maybe not put enough on here. There's a bit too much metal shining through. There we are. We'll come back with a second pass. Now up here, that's mainly a strap, but it does go up a little bit there. Just tickle him under the chin. Down here in the V of those cross straps. Now I've gone onto the cross strap there a little bit. I've also gone onto his face. So let's get it out. So I can tell now doing this test mini, I'm going to need to use a new brush rather than this general purpose one. So that's fine. That's what these test minis are for. So I get the brush right in the corner there. I'm not too worried about the straps because I'm going to have to go over those again anyway. But you know, try and avoid them if you can. There's no point in saying, well, I'm going to paint over them, so I'm just going to slap it on. Try and be as neat as you can. It'll be easier later. You can see a bit of the printer lines here as well. You might not be able to see it on camera, but I can see it live. It kind of looks like a fingerprint, and that's a telltale sign that something's been 3D printed. So if you're not sure about whether a model is a print or not, then you keep an eye out for that, and that'll tell you whether it is or not. It's a weird thing. It's not a print line. It's just like a weird sort of, like I said, like a fingerprint or a thumbprint that's on the model. When I first saw it, I thought it was. I thought I'd put my thumb onto the model before it had cured, but no, it isn't that at all. It's just part of the printing process. There we go. So we'll leave him to dry. As it currently stands, I'm pretty happy with him. I think I might have to go back and steal all the... Oh, let's get him on camera. There we are. And steal all the breastplates before going it over with the black. Sounds like my wardrobe. Yeah, absolutely. Join Lord's Discord if you're interested in the Napoleonic War 3. I shall check that out. But before I do, I'm going to have to quickly disappear and grab my black wash. Yes. So talk amongst yourselves, or you can listen to the soothing sound of my printer. I don't know. It's up to you guys. Spare me 2 minutes. Okay, and we are back with some non-oil black wash. So, what I'm going to do with these is all the metals that I've already painted. I'll be busting that out on there, including the helmets. And, of course, the sabres. Steel these minis. Oh, yeah, no, you wouldn't want these, I tell you. You'd want at least well-painted ones, I'm sure. So, let's have a go here. So I mentioned earlier on these three sort of crooks that were in the helmet, and I wasn't too concerned that you couldn't see them because I knew that when the wash came out you would. And they are, again, part of that little detail that certainly wouldn't have been on older models that has just come out beautifully on the printer. I should also say as well, I'm certainly no great shakes when it comes to printing. My brother's a much better printer than me. So if I can get this level of detail from it, someone who actually really puts a lot of time and care and attention to their printing could do an absolutely phenomenal job. There we are. Now, I'm very much looking forward to getting these canaries on the table. I think they're going to be really nice. I think they're going to be a good addition. I do have quite a few Württemberger infantry done, so I'd like to get a full Württemberger army on the table for a battle report. So we'll have to see how long that's going to take. I know General Dan's got some plans that are leading into next year. So it's going to be quite a big project, that one. So I might have to just switch over to that soonish to make sure that that I'm ready for that. But as it currently stands, I think we've got a bit of time to bust out some Württembergers. Now I'm putting the wash on fairly heavy onto these, perhaps a little bit too heavy. So maybe I need to dial it back a little. Maybe add a bit of water. It's dulling down the metal a bit more than I want it to. I want it to bring the detail out for sure, but I don't want it to dull the metal too much. I might just bung him like so. Tip him upright. A bit more water on this guy's saber. Take some of the wash off, just so it's not quite so dark. This is again the problem with the fuller, is it's just running into there and coming out. So there we are. Let's do that, and we can use that on this geezer here. So this is just wash that I've taken off the other guy. So we can see that I put far too much on. If I've got enough wash for 2 models plus, because I'm not exactly running low on it now, then there was obviously way too much on that guy. One of the mistakes I think people can make, particularly with contrast paints, is not using enough. But that wash was way too heavy. Now I'm going to take some off this guy. Yeah, look at his helmet there. His helmet's gone almost grey. So I've used way too much. So, thin it down a little bit. And use the brush to suck it up. There we are. That should be able to finish this guy off here. My brother is a printer. Well, you know, he's something of a 3D printer. He's actually a chef. But when it comes to his hobby, he does some very good 3D printing stuff. I've told him he should get an Etsy store, but he hasn't yet. He is on here today, though. He was earlier on. So if you want to stick in an order with him, then let him know on here. No, he's certainly far more proficient than me when it comes to the 3D printing. We got a printer together, and he was the first one to sort of work out how it works and everything like that. He's far more technical than me like that, and he taught me how to use it and all the basics. And then, to be honest, I didn't really progress much beyond there because all I want it for is to churn out minis. But he's more interested in doing display models and things like that. So that's why his his knowledge of settings and things like that is far, far better than mine. I probably use, 5% of the capabilities of my printer. Now, I'm just going to try something else on this guy. I'm going to try the black wash over the top of the contrast. Now, I'm a little concerned because it might take away the metallic sheen, which is the whole point of doing it on top of a metallic base. But I'm hoping it's not going to do that. I'm hoping it's going to take away the slight greenness of how it looks. Now, I've missed this guy's saber altogether, haven't I? What a numpty. English cricket in the Caribbean, a black wash. Yeah. Good morning from the colonies. Good morning, David. I hope you enjoyed the Continental Navy in action. Well, it's not the Continental Navy, the US Navy in action. Actually, no, you probably didn't, did you? But no spoilers, no spoilers. So I'm just going to get a little bit of metal on here. Metal. Get the sword done. Now, most of the metal I put on this was from where I mixed it and took it out of the pot onto the pallet, so it's mostly dried. Let's see if I can get enough out for a saber. I'm hoping I can. There you go. Well, I don't think there's quite enough on there, but it'll do for Renoir. There's a good. It's got the impression of having metal on it, so that's the important thing. Oh, I've not done his bloody helmet either. Good Lord alive! What am I? What am I like? Let me just double check my contour painting. Did the officer have a metal helmet? He did, with a big gold bit on the front. So let's get the metal done. I find before as well, like, let me know, guys, is it just me that does this? But you'll paint, for argument's sake, I don't know, 10 models, and you'll, say you're doing the black on the models, so you'll do everyone's boots, you'll do everyone's shako, and then you find out later that you've done everyone's ammunition pouch except one guy, or you've missed the back of one guy's boot. So you've done all the others, but you've just missed that one guy. Does anyone else do that, or is it just me? Because it's not so much annoying that you've got to go back and, like, get the paint out and everything. It's just like, why on earth? How on earth did I, like, not do that on this one guy? There we go. Right. Now his sword I've not done either, but that's okay. We can come back to that one. So I'll pop him on the to come back to pile as well. The cut to come back to pile's bigger than the painting now one. I've just oh, that's good, Shakos. I'm glad it's not just me. Oh yeah, the hands are hands are another one. Yeah. If you drill out the butt of the figure and place a piece of wire, you can hold it without touching and spawning away. You know what? I have actually done that on some of them. Let me. I noticed it earlier on. There we are. No, I've done that on him, and he was glued. No, there he is. He was glued onto a bit of cork. But the problem is, they don't fit with my storage solution, which probably says something about my storage solution. I'm not too concerned anyway, because I'm going to go once they're on the horses. I always go back in and just touch up any bits that that need doing. There's always bits that I've missed, or say on the cartridge pouch on the back, they've got that little brass button. Well, it's an emblem, I'd assume. I always miss like little bits like that and things, so I'm not too concerned. I'll go back and touch them up afterwards anyway. There we go. I don't want to get too much wash on here again. There we are. Take those away. I tend to do the back on 1 and all the back on X and so on. So I absolutely miss things. Only bayonet sheets. Yeah. Oh, good. This is like a support group. This is good. I'm glad it's not just me. Saxon Craziers, asked David Collins. No, these are Württemberg Guard decor, these ones. So a lot of people have asked if they're Saxon Craziers, which is a fair enough assumption to make. But no, these are piano miniatures, Saxon Guard decor. These ones. I think the yellow and the cuirass is, you know, yeah, it's an easy mistaker to make. I've just done that 96 Prussian. Oh, no. Did that on 6mm faces. 20. Yeah, no, it happens on. I was doing the epic sprues, and that happened on that as well. Yeah. With a 3D printer, you could print a holy pole. Yeah, no, that's true actually. Yeah, I could do, couldn't I? As in pre-attached. I could do actually. Yep, no, that's not a bad. That's not a bad shout. That would require slicing though, which is that's more Paul's forte than mine. That one, I think. The worst bit is when you do a video on the finished minis and find out the off-sales. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, moustaches are notorious for it on my minis as well. A Ridley Scott Napoleon movie, really? Yes, it was originally called Kit Bag, which had perhaps the worst title of a film I've ever heard. But I'm not sure if that's still the title for it. I'm hoping to God not. Or, you know, if it is, at least that's just the working title. Remember, Star Wars was originally Blue Harvest, so hopefully it will have a decent name by the time it gets released. But we shall have to see. Now, what I should have done while I was painting the metal is I should have done this guy's auglets, shouldn't I? That was a bit of a fail. Never mind. This guy might be about to get promoted. He might end up with golden ones. Masters of the Air should be out soon too. Yes, no, it should. In fact, my I've not been wondering what's been going on with that actually. A friend of mine, he is a printer. He's a t-shirt printer, and he does, like, you know, bags and blazers and all that kind of stuff. And one of his sort of things that he's very much into is World War II aviation. So he prints a lot of aeroplane nose art and things like that on t-shirts. And one of their ranges was called the Mighty Eighth, which were the 8th Bomber Group. And it was supposed the series was going to be called the Mighty Eighth, and they have the copyright to it in the UK. So they were hoping for some contractual negotiation, shall we say. But unfortunately, they went with Masters of the Sky instead, which he's still bitter about. I do think the Mighty Eight would have been a better title, but still, Masters of the Sky is still much better than Kit Bag, though. It's a lovely group. What a lovely way to spend Mayday. Well, thank you, Karen. Yeah, we try and keep it pretty chill on here. It's only when someone brings up the scale of the scale of 3D printed minis. That's the only time we get well, that's how I get angry on here. That and when my neighbour is either putting up the fence or using an angle grinder to cut down the fence that he put up the last time we had a live stream. That's another popular theme on the live streams here. Oh no, I can hear him outside now. Oh, I haven't summoned him, have I? To be fair, actually, he's I think he is Polish. He might be Latvian. He's a builder, and he's done quite a lot of renovations on his house. And I'll be honest with you, they look really, really good. No, he's certainly someone who, if we need anything doing, I might call him over. Fence. Yeah. He said he's there too. Absolutely, yeah. I knew I shouldn't have put this mirror up opposite me. As long as Richard Todd doesn't come through it with a hook, I'll be all right. So there we are. That's I do find washing these sabers, painting them in the first place, and then painting the wash on them is it's so good, so therapeutic. Right, I'm just popping back here. Right, the black wash seems to have taken out the greenness. So unfortunately, that's quite a nice technique. It does require far more effort than I was normally willing to put in. But I think I'm going to have to do it for these guys. They are the guard decor after all, so they are worth a little bit more effort than normal. Let me just... oh, one thing I haven't been doing is under the visors here, have I? Oh! No, it's just on these last two guys, is it? Okay. That's not so bad then. I'll let myself off for that one. Okay, Russian Girl. Lovely to see you again, my friend, as always. Hello, Glamour Smashed Face. That's an interesting, interesting name. Very different. We are going to carry on for about another half an hour. We're going to crack on till 1 o'clock. We are trying to get Kits with Karen. We're trying to get that channel to above 400 subscribers today. So if you haven't hopped on over there and subscribed, if you are interested in Saturday paint-alongs, which I certainly am, then I would recommend that you head over to Kits with Karen right now. Give her a sub and stick the notifications on, and then we'll see what's going on when she's on there. It's a Cannibal Corpse song. All right, okay. So where are you from, Glamour Smasher? I don't think I've seen you on the channel before. Where are you hailing from today? We've got a couple of we've got a guy from New Zealand. We've got a couple of chaps who are stateside. We've got Lucas in Germany. So Dan over in Bassetlaw. So we've got quite a good selection today. That's the first time Bassetlaw's been put in the same sentence as Germany, New Zealand, and America. I can guarantee that for you. Hammer smash. Stateside Baltimore. Oh, excellent. So, well, in that case, you should definitely check out the yesterday's video on the naval game that we had. Baltimore's a fascinating city. I'd love to go to Baltimore. I know it doesn't necessarily, as someone who watched The Wire, it might be an interesting place, but it's got a fantastic history. I think it's a really great historical city in America, I think. Bassetlaw, that's across the river from me. Oh, okay, so you're on the correct side of the river then, Deep Red. That's good. That's good to know. There we go. Historicals. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hang on. Did I drop off then? Oh, hang on. Someone, how's the connection been? It seems to be going okay on my my monitor, but yeah, I don't know what happened there. Baltimore is one of the oldest cities. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and it's am I right in thinking it's on the sea? Apologies for my my lack of knowledge of American cities. For some reason in my head, it's a naval city. I could be wrong in that though. Been perfect so far. All right, okay. Cheers, Clive. I've changed the. Sometimes I try and run it off the Wi-Fi, and because I'm right upstairs in the house here, it doesn't always do very well. So I'm glad it's worked so far, because normally within the first sort of couple of minutes I see it's juddering and I have to turn it off. But no, that's good. I've turned it off now, so we should be good from now on. I'm just moving the camera over a little bit. Watch tonight's video with a nice prize, and this one's given. Oh, right, okay. Oh, well, see, today's the day. You need to get subbed if you want to be involved in the prize draw. Yes, we are reported. Oh, that's good. That's good. I thought I was going mad. Well, that's good then. No, certainly America is on my to visit list. Particularly, the problem is I've got with visiting America is it's so big, and the places that I would want to go to are so far away from each other that I'd either need multiple holidays there or like a single 3-month holiday there. And I don't think, well, actually, I could probably go and work, probably wouldn't even notice I'd gone, but if they found out that I'd gone, that might be something of a problem. But yeah, there's loads of places I'd like to go to. I mean, all down the eastern seaboard. I'd love to go to, like, the old frontier. So there, Mount Rushmore, obviously, that's like up in the north. I'd want to go to um, New Orleans, which is obviously as far away from Mount Rushmore as you can get. I'd like to go to, I mean, Vegas. I'd quite like to go to. I'm not sure how long I'd want to be in Vegas for, but uh, so yeah, no, that was just so many places. The Grand Canyon I'd love to see, Yellowstone, but they're just so far apart that yeah, I think I'd need to do multiple. You could probably go to America for 2 weeks every year for the rest of your life and still not see everything that I wanted to see. I've always fancied Japan. Oh yes, Karen. No, oh yes, yes, absolutely. In fact, I was looking at there's a company called well. Here's a bit of deep lore. One of the reasons I started the channel was I got into Facebook in about 2016, 2017, no, about 2016, 2015, 2016. And I thought there's not the content there that I wanted to see. So I thought, well, I'll make my own. And the content that I wanted to see was stuff I was used to from listening to podcasts. Now, the first podcast I really got into was, what was it called? Podhammer, which was an absolutely hilarious group of Australians. Very politically incorrect, but no, they were very good fun back in sort of 2014 times. And one of the other ones I got into was the D6 Generation. Now, they partnered with a company called Geek Gaming Tours, which is the first time I'd heard about them. So I was checking Geek Gaming Tours yesterday. It was Geek Tours, it might just be. Not yesterday, on during the week. And they do a tour for these. They do a tour of Sekigahara, which was the pivotal battle in the. I think it was 1600, 1601, something like that. In the Samurai Wars, that was the one that ended it all. So they do a tour that includes Sekigahara. I think it's got Kyoto Castle in there, and so some other stuff like that. Anyway, not including flights. £8,000 based on 2 sharing. So I was like, wow, that's yeah. I'd love to go to Japan, but that's a little bit too expensive for me. I'd also like to go during blossom season as well. This time of year is my absolute favorite. I absolutely love cherry blossom. So yeah, no, I'd love to go to Japan. I just can't afford it. But yes, no, Japan is definitely on the bucket list as well. Baltimore is dangerous to visit at night. Well, okay. I mean, I don't want to get into that. I'm sure there are areas of every city. There's certainly areas of Sheffield that I wouldn't want to visit at night. So I mean, London as well. There's a certain place I want to go at night. So painting 6mm later is Polski Prepper. Okay, 6mm Napoleonic. So you're doing 6mm another period. I've got some First World War 6mm that I bought from eBay as a bit of a tester from Bacchus, which I've never got any. I bought them, opened the packet, and that's about as far as I got. They're First World War Uhlans, so I think I got them to use for Franco-Prussian War as well, because it's 6mm. I'm not sure there's a huge amount of difference. So I'm going back with the ones that I painted first now. I'm going back to paint the flesh. So this is using the contrast Guilliman flesh. So I'm just banging this straight over the re-undercoated skin areas. So I re-undercoated them with Screaming Skull, and that just allows me to add a little bit of warmth to the model, and makes them look more alive than if I'd just done it straight over the white undercoat. I'll put a little bit on this guy's cuirass here, so you can see that's not actually too bad. That doesn't look too bad there, but when you put it on a face, it is noticeable. I think it's because you sort of, the brain interprets the face more than it does when it's just on a flat piece, like a bit of armor. Your brain interprets that you're looking actually at a face. Do you remember Evil M? I don't know. In my opinion, I'm a bit biased, but our state flag is the coolest. Right, let's have a look. Baltimore's in Maryland, I think, isn't it? So let's have a look. Maryland state flag. Oh, no, that is pretty cool. Yeah, that is good. If you're doing any like if you ever do like a Bretonian army or a medieval army, then yeah, you got to go with that. So it's quartered, and it's got like a yellow and black sort of lozenges on the top left, top right, bottom right quarter, and then the other quarters are made up of it's almost like a Spanish cross in red and white. That is super cool. I'm gonna have to do. I'm looking at starting a Bretonian army for the old world when that comes out, so I might have to steal that one as one of the heraldries for a knight, because that is very cool. Oh, do I remember Evil Knievel trying to jump the Snake River? I don't, but I know of Evil Knievel. He's a slightly before my time. I think my brother probably remembers him. But no, I don't remember that. But from what I know of him, that does sound like the kind of thing that he would do. Did he then do a Homer Simpson and fail to clear it? Carthage from Bacchus. Oh, excellent. Okay, so that's something a bit different. Carthage is another army that I'd really like to do. A great mix of troops. You've got your North African veterans. You've got Gallic troops. You've got guys in Roman armor, particularly after Trasimene and the other one. Was it Lake Trasimene and the river one? Yep, that one. So yeah, no, you've got yeah, there's a real load of variation you can get in the Carthaginians, Numidians, obviously, and lest we forget, of course, elephants. So no, that would be super cool. We have cherry blossoms in Washington DC too. Oh well, no, absolutely. We've got cherry blossoms here in Sheffield. My Facebook banner is of a particularly nice cherry blossom row in the park. So at lunchtime, because I'm fat, I'm trying to get more exercise in, and I'm going around every lunchtime. I drag my carcass around a park that's near my work, and one of the things that really makes me look forward to doing it actually is I've got a lovely row of cherry trees that are, you know, they're blossoming now. They're absolutely gorgeous. They will rather defeat my intentions to get fit, though, when in about a month's time I'm pulling handfuls of cherries off them to eat. So, so there is that. The parachute ejected too early on the sky. It's like, ooh dear. Oh, they were a gift from Japan, are they? Right, okay, so they're oh, cool. I don't think the ones in Crooks Valley Park in Sheffield are a gift from Japan, I have to say. Now, I must confess, I am I'm a little bit of a weeb, but I'm not into anime or anything like that. But sort of Japanese culture and history, I do find quite interesting. To be honest, when I put up the poll of what do people want to see for the October. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, no, I am about to get salty. When I put up a poll for what do people want to see in October, when alternative armies was one of the themes. I did think about doing a Napoleonic versus samurai army. That could be pretty cool, because it was before the Japan was opened up to the west by Commodore Perry. So I think he was Admiral Perry by then, wasn't he? So yeah, no, that could be quite cool. But no, instead, I've got to do the Scandinavian armies of the Napoleonic Wars, which I know absolutely nothing about. So thank you for that. But no, joking aside, I do know very little about the Scandinavian armies. I'm really looking forward, actually, to spending the summer researching them, because, as I say, it's a subject about which I know literally nothing. I know that some of them wore top hats, and I think the Swedes might have had Jaegers that were quite good. That is literally all I know, though. So no, I'm really looking forward to doing those. So thank you for voting for them. Wellington in India came a very close second. Do not be afeared. I will absolutely be doing Wellington in India at some point. Just this autumn, I'll be focusing on the Scandinavian armies. The fight. All right, okay. So Numidian horseman. There we go. How old am I? I am old. I am 42 this year, so way too old. The flag bearer. Oh, I've not done the metal on the trumpeter's helmet, have I? I've not done the wash. We'll come back to that, because I want to find out the history behind the Baltimore flag, because it is very cool. Let's have a look. The flag bears the arms of the Calvert and Crossland families. Calvert is a family name of the Lords of Baltimore. Okay, that makes sense. Who founded Maryland. Crossland were the family of the mother of George Calvert. Oh, right, okay. First Lord of Baltimore. Well, there you go. Ah, okay. No, that is interesting. They looked it looks Spanish, but obviously it's not. Well, I say that it's obviously Scottish. There's a weird like number of Scottish Spanish crossover. Now I've heard it suggested because when the Spanish Armada was destroyed, a lot of the shipwrecked sailors ended up in Scotland. I don't know how true that is, but Scotland has a very distinguished past of Spanish and Italian people. Now I've also heard the Italians came from World War II, so that'd be far too early for this. But I don't know. You think of people like Peter Capaldi or Armando Iannucci, or there's a lot of Italian Scots as well. So Katie's always telling me anyway. Yeah, no, interesting. But no, that is interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about Baltimore. Like you say, it's one of the oldest U.S. cities. So no, it's always interesting. It's pronounced with a T over here, so Calvert. Well, yeah, I guess it would be here actually if it was Spanish. It would be Calvert. So yeah, that's fair enough. I was trying to be continental. Calvert. There we go. That's all the flesh done as well. Do that information with your battalions as you will. Absolutely. Rich Hall, I made the mistake of collecting early Imperial Romans and ancient Germans. I wish I'd done Republican Romans versus Carthaginians. But with your ancient Germans, you can use those as Gauls, I'm sure. Yeah, I reckon so. In early Imperial Romans, it's not too bad. You can get away with them being post-Marian Romans as well. I mean, I guess they are. 42, you're a very young man. Oh, God, yeah, I don't know about that, mate. I certainly don't feel it, but thank you. In my head, it's still 2008, so I'm still, like, 27. But, yeah. We missed out on Napoleon versus Samurai. You did miss out on Napoleon versus Samurai, but we may come back to it later. Don't worry about that. If I get more people telling me that the buttons on this guy are wrong, or oh well, actually this general didn't fight that guy, I might just do Napoleon versus Samurai, just just for those guys. So I'm going back on the metal here. What I'm just going to quickly do is I'm just going to quickly do the tops of the sabers, just as a bit of a highlight. There we are. I'll probably do the blades as well. I think I've gone a little bit heavy on the wash on a couple of them. So I'm just going back there. So I'm just looking at the ones that the sabers looking perhaps a little bit dull. Using the side of the brush to pick up the just the edges. I don't want to paint down the fuller. Just want to paint down the edges. So that's why I'm using the side of the brush. Like so. I think they're mostly okay. I think those two could probably do with a touch-up. And this guy here. So let's start on this guy. I think the rest of them probably get away with. This guy. Oh, yeah, no, that's looking much better. Put that one over there. A quick glance over how my horsey's coming along. Oh, no, I'm not doing the horses. I thought I was. I'm doing the men. So that's okay. So I just scratch that onto the blade there. Now, I'm not using too much paint here. In fact, the paint's kind of drying because I'm not using enough. But that's okay. That's going quite nicely. Where are we? So there's that one up there as well. I can also see as well. Oh, it's clouding over a little bit now. I'm going to. One of the problems that those of you who've not seen many of these live streams is that as the afternoon wears on, the sun comes round and shines through the window. It's great for light. At this time, I get phenomenal lighting up here, which is why I like doing these live streams up here. But when the sun starts shining directly through the window, you can't see anything. So it's nice when the clocks change because it gets us a bit more time. I'm 32 going on 50 according to my... Oh, yeah, mate. Oh, it's the back's the worst. Absolutely. Baltimore was established in 1729 and named for the Irish barony of Baltimore. Oh, okay, well, there you go. A bit of an amateur historian from my area. No, that's really interesting, mate. Right, okay. So it's from an Irish settled thing. I used to know a Calvert who was a Scottish Catholic. So that would make sense. Yeah. Now, what was her name? I can't remember now. It was a while ago. It was while I was at uni. So we're going in. I'm going to paint the breastplates metal. Let's start off with the officer leading the way, as well he should. The officer's quite nice and easy too, because he's got this big flat area with the star in the middle, so that's going to break up the flat area quite nicely. But I don't need to worry about straps or anything like that getting in the way of painting the breastplate. So he's quite a nice one to start with. Let me just get a bit more water in there. There we are. I might end up finishing the metal and the breastplates off camera. As I say, the plan is to do a live stream next Monday as well. Same time, it'll be 11 o'clock, be British summer time, so GMT +1. It's not going to be doing these guys. It's going to be doing something more related to the coronation of His Majesty. So I'm quite looking forward to that, actually. Obviously, I've never seen a coronation before. Not a real one. By real one, I obviously mean British one. Although the Japanese installment of the Emperor was an interesting one. Not quite got the pageantry that the King's coronation should do. So, yeah, no, we'll have to do something British for that one, I think. I was saying to one of the chaps at the club on Thursday, I can't actually remember the last time I painted some French. I've painted Württembergers, and I've painted Irish and Swiss and all sorts of stuff. But I can't remember the last time I just painted a down-to-earth, God-honest battalion of French infantry. Let alone British. Did the Garde du Corps fight at Borodino? Yes, I want to say they did. No, am I getting mixed up with... No, I'm getting mixed up with the Saxon Garde du Corps, aren't I? The Saxon Garde du Corps definitely did. Let me have a look. Württemberg Garde du Corps. Right, I've got the pictures up at the moment. Let's see if I can get the article up. One of the websites I use the most is Napoleon.org. That is a phenomenal website. I'm not sure if it's got much on the Württemberg Garde du Corps, I have to say, but it's a great website. Don't look at it if you've seen some of my early videos, because you'll see that's where I got all of my research from. So, so you will unmask me. So yeah, don't do that. But if you've not seen any of my early videos, then yeah, you absolutely go large. I still use it now, to be honest. It's a really, really good resource. When I've gone into some of the more sort of esoteric subjects, like the Irish or something like that, it's not quite as useful there, but it really is useful for a lot of other stuff. It's a great website. Highly, highly recommend it. I know a lot of people talk about Mont Saint-Jean, which is also a very good website, particularly if you're interested in the Waterloo campaign or the 100 Days campaign. But if you are interested in the Napoleonic period in general, then it's Napoleon, so it's NAPOLUN.org. Now, it's also hosted on a Russian site as well, which is like Napoliskia or something. But you can find it mirrored on Napoleon.org, and that would be the one I would recommend to go to, mainly because I can remember the address of that one. So let's have a look. The Württemberg Garde du Corps, Westphalian and Kingdom of war uniforms with half cuirasses and the Rupenhelm. All right, okay, well that's good. It doesn't tell me where they fought though, does it? Right, okay. So I'm going to check another resource. This is the second one that I'll often go to, and it's Nafziger's. The Nafziger collection of Orders of Battle, which is 100% worth going to as well. That is on Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. It is on the Napoleon series. So Napoleon-series.org. That's the second place I often go to for my my information. So let's have a look. We've got orders of battle. Scroll down to 1812, and we'll scroll down to the Battle of Borodino. French Army, the Battle of Borodino. There we are. And that opens up. Ooh, this is a weird one. It's opening up as an Acrobat PDF. Oh, how strange. Let's see if that actually works on my computer or not. Ooh, I've not done that before. How bizarre. Let's have another look. Okay, well, I have to answer your question. I am not sure. Guard Decor Battle. Let's see that one. Well, I can't see anything about them here, but that said, it's not necessarily the greatest thing to search for. Right, let's have a look here. So we've got Württemberg. We're on Napoleon.org here. Lucas would know. Yeah, well, I guess he would be, wouldn't he? Yeah, he was here. So let's ask Lucas. He's the man to know. Right, here we are. Let's have a look. On 17th of August, 1812, the Württemberg. Well, that's Württemberg infantry, I think. Borodino in 1812, after the Southern Flesh were temporarily abandoned, survived with the French 57th Line Regiment. I can't see anything that's on here, but there is. I've come across a not according to Napoleon. Well, fair enough. Yeah, no, it's, probably not. To be honest, they're just a cool-looking unit. But you have activated my trap card of General Van Damme, the senior Württemberg. This is according to Napoleon.org. The senior Württemberg General Walrath helped to calm von Hugel when that determined officer was asked for permission to engage Van Damme in a duel. The Württembergers also noticed Van Damme's talent for looting. No bed tonight, no bed tonight. Van Damme has got his purse all right. If he'd not got his purse so tight, we'd all have a bed tonight. Brilliant. See, it's full of stuff like this. That's Napoleon.org. I cannot recommend highly enough as a website. What an absolutely great little ditty about your boy, General Van Damme. Him accusing the Tsar of murdering his dad is still one of my my all-time baller moves. Right, let's have a look. I'm getting there. We'll be 60 this year. No, that's nothing, Karen. 60 is the new 40. So you'll be right. As we would say here in Yorkshire, you'll be right. That means you'll be okay. I'm just going in there. Let's have a look. There we are. So it looks like the Guard Corps might be a little bit of a less useful unit, shall we say, if they didn't do much actual fighting. But that's no great shakes. You could very easily replace a French Cuirassier regiment with these models, or even something like Saxon Garde Corps. You could replace with these if you wanted to. I don't see that as being a major problem, I have to say. I think they've got rules in Black Powder, but if they don't, again, the Saxon Garde Corps certainly do. So you could just replace, just use those rules for them. Would that be historically accurate? Maybe, maybe not. But who wants their guard unit to not be the stars of the show? When you've gone to all this effort to paint the gorgeous uniforms that they've got, it's a bit of a shame to just have them treated as like Italian, as a Spanish light cavalry or something, isn't it? You want them to do a little bit more than that. Try being 63. Oh, yes, David. No. Well, yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's my own fault for suggesting the Scandinavians. No, it is. Well, the idea was I was supposed to suggest it, and then no one voted for it. I could say, well, I did suggest it, but no one wanted it. But that one backfired, didn't it? So when you say to someone, oh, yeah, we're going out, do you want to come? And they'll say no, and then they say yes, and you're like, oh, shit. It's very similar to that. But no, joking aside, I am very much looking forward to it. I couldn't find any evidence of the Guard Corps being in actually any battle when I looked. No, well, fair enough. And this is where I think, I'm a guy who likes the orders of battle as much as the next guy. But I also think it's important to do the figures that you think look cool, that you want to paint. At the end of the day, you've got to spend your money and, more importantly, your time on these models. So you may as well make it ones that you actually enjoy and that you think you're going to want to paint. This Space Marine, this Mark II Space Marine, I've done his leg. I've just glanced over it. It looks super sweet. I'm going to have to do the rest of these now, aren't I? So that's okay. They can go in my Dark Angel army. They wear black anyway, so that's not too shoddy. I think if Van Damme was at Waterloo, Napoleon might have won. Well, he certainly would have helped, wouldn't he? No. I understand why. Due to his manic looting, he wasn't made a marshal. But I certainly think he was a better marshaller candidate than Grouchy was. Although, Grouchy's no slouch outside of the 1815 campaign. He just didn't cover himself in glory there, and I'm not entirely certain it was his fault either. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't know enough about it really. I know that absolutely gallons of ink have been spilled on the Waterloo campaign, and there's a lot of people probably in this chat here who are far more qualified than me to speak on it. But yeah, it'd be an interesting one if Van Damme was the Marshal instead of Grouchy. Certainly, Grouchy seems to have not been that proactive, and I think of all the things that we can say about Van Damme, proactivity was a lack of proactivity was certainly not one of Van Damme's problems. So that's the guy who we did earlier on. He's cool. We can leave him. I keep sticking my arm on that horse. That's less good. Pop him there. That's okay. His face is a bit dark. No, well, never mind. This guy, he is rapidly becoming my favourite, this standard bearer, mainly because he's not got a sword, so there's a bit less to paint on him, so that's nice. I don't feel 40. Thank you. No, that's okay, David. Yeah, no, Lucas absolutely would know. We'll have to ask him next time. Next time he's on. I know Morale was shot inside the square of Württemberg. Yes, I think they fired at him. I think the Russians fired at him, and he had to run away. As far as I'm aware. So we have just breached 1 o'clock. I'm going to knock it on the head after I've finished painting this guy here. Where are we? There we are. I'm going to quickly bang a wash on him, and I think I missed the trumpeter as well, haven't I? Yes, I had. So I'm going to quickly bang a washes on those two guys, and then we're going to call it a day. So let's get their helmets done. This Space Marine here, that's how I want the legs to look when they are. The cuirasses to look when I've painted them. I think they should do. I'm quite excited about that, actually. I think that's going to look really good. That's going to be a combination of undercoating them metal, the breastplates, and then painting them with Black Templar contrast paint as opposed to Black Legion. The Black Templar is the one I use for hard surfaces. Black Templar, as I say, for soft surfaces. So Shaco, I might do with Black Legion, whereas the cartridge pouch I would do with Black Legion. Black Templar. Now I'm not Not saying I always do, because I'm quite lazy, so I might just use the same black for each. But on these guard decor guys, I'm going to try and put a little bit more effort in. They are the elite after all. So just wipe off his visor. Now make sure you do underneath. I didn't with the steel, so let's make sure I do it with the black wash to bring it out. There we are. And we've got the trumpeter here. The Württemberg army wouldn't be complete without it. No, it really wouldn't. And I'll also be doing the mounted grenadiers as well, because they're an absolutely gorgeous looking unit. So the Württembergers are probably going to end up just being like a bit of a B-class French army, but that's okay. You know, part of having it is having the models that you need, and part of it is having the models that you want. Now, this weekend, I have mentioned it before, but hopefully I've finally got my event pack to a position that it is going to be ready to unleash to the general public, with a announcement of an event. Now, hopefully that will be towards the end of the year, maybe November. It might be the start of 2024, but I'm hoping we'll have a get-together event where we'll be able to have some awesome... I'm going to take the Space Marine off the camera because he's currently the only model that's on camera, isn't he? Which is a little bit not really what it should be. So hopefully, yes, we'll be able to have an event in 2024, possibly the end of 2023. But I'll say more about that at the weekend. I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I've just slipped over the 2-hour mark. I hope you've enjoyed it today. We've just carried on where we left off. Absolutely nothing particularly revolutionary. But thank you for your company. Thank you for making me actually crack on with these guys and getting them done. But yes, let me just have a quick last look over the chat. David Collins, Napoleon said if he needs to storm hell, you don't want Van Damme leading the vanguard. Absolutely. He also said if you had 2 of them, the only solution would be to get one to hang the other. No, I do love my Van Damme. He's a top bloke. But thank you very much, guys. I get up and paint at 5 a.m. Blimey, Charlie, that is very early. Thank you very much for joining me, David. Thank you very much for everyone else who's joined me. Go and check out Kits with Karen. If you're interested in some larger scale stuff, I will be checking those out later. Where are we on at the end of this stream? Have we breached 2? Oh, we got another one, 339. That's good. Let's try and get that over. Let's try and get it to 350 then. Let's be a little less optimistic. Let's try and get it to 350. But check that out. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you next Sunday. For we only got pants and coats done, but that's a start. No, that is a very good start. So yeah, Paul, I will see you guys next Sunday for a normal video, and hopefully next Monday for a live stream. But I will keep you up to date on the Sunday video, whether the live stream's happening on Monday. So cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.